Howdy, folks. Good evening. It's Woodturning Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave, and I'm a woodturner. I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator to help folks like you become better turners as well. Bonus for the whole thing is I also get to become a better turner throughout the process by repeating and teaching what I'm doing. It cements it more in my mind. And it helps me to explore different tools and different techniques so that I can pass them on to you. So last night we were working on a few older projects, and I've got another one. This is from a couple weeks ago. So this is a lidded box, three-corner lidded, or actually it was a square box. It would turn this from a cube, and now we are turning a base for it tonight. We're getting this thing finished out to see what the end result is. I'm looking for that. I'm looking forward to that. I have no idea what it's going to be yet. As far as the base is concerned, I know this is a lidded box. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this guy. So last night I had got to the point towards the end of the broadcast that I was able to at least get this curve to match this curve. These are going to be joined together. This is going to be the base for this box. Let me set that aside. So I think that I'm going to, I've got a line here. I don't know if it shows up on camera very well, but I've got a lightly scribed line here that I think, let's take a look at this again. I think it will take me about halfway. So it'll be about half of the distance between the top and the bottom of this. So always trying to consider aesthetics. There is two maxims handed down throughout the woodturning world. Actually, I think just throughout just any art endeavor. They are called, the two maxims are called the 2/3 and the 3/5 rule. And the idea is that because of the way we see things, that if you have your piece where it is symmetrical in that, say it's round, or the center of it perhaps maybe like an egg. An egg will have about 2/3 of it on the top half, and then the bottom round half will be about 1/3. And you notice when eggs are kind of out of shape, that's something that you look for in your mind is that ovalish kind of shape for an egg. Same thing with architecture and photographs and wood turning, all that. So, and the 3/5 rule is the same thing. 3/5. You separate the piece basically where the widest point will be at either 3/5 or 2/5, and the rest is different diameters. It follows basically along like that. So when I design a piece, I'm kind of trying to get that aesthetic in there so that when you look at it, it doesn't look clunky. I like elegant. I like flowers. I like it to look pretty, man. That's just my thing. I have some favorite shapes. There are, oh gosh, I can't remember. Maybe 5. It could be 7, but 5 classical shapes. One of them is the egg shape. Another one is an oval, and there's different kinds. One is sort of like an acorn, I guess. But anyway, I have my favorite shapes that I like to play with. Let's grab this skew. I want to score this line. So I'm going to match. This is basically at least a representation of the folded down, like outer parts of the bulb, right? So I want that to match this, that downward curve to be like this downward curve as opposed to the upward one. So I'm going to be working in to hollow that out, well, thin that out, I guess I should say. It's not, it is kind of a cavity, but so I've got a couple ideas on how I'm going to do that. And I think I may actually have to do this with the tailstock now that I think about it, because I've got to get kind of thin in here so I can get up underneath that. And I'll be working against a larger mass on a smaller diameter and kind of sort of pushing it one direction by cutting into it this way and that way. So basically pushing it away from the headstock. So there'll be some issues if I don't address that now. Don't need a lot of support, just enough to get in there to hold it steady. Plus, the tool rest really lets me hog off some stuff if I need to. See, it looks like I'll need that light. Okay, so I had an idea that basically, let's take this down and look at this together. Pieced together anyway. Come on out of there. So here's a good example, actually. So this handle is 2/5 the length of the whole piece. So that's 2/5, 3/5. It works out really nicely. So I had an idea that I may wind up taking this a little bit further back. But anyway, I had an idea of thinning that out in there as thin as I could get it, bringing it down into a ball, a sphere, and then outward to the base. I thought that might look kind of cool, especially because I'm also considering carving some stuff in there. So let's see. I may have to take this back a little bit further. I don't know how thin I want this yet. But with all this together, I would have to have the base somewhere down here, I think. So we'll mark that just for reference. Okay, well, let's keep on trucking. Viking says, howdy. You ever make furniture with your lathe? Viking 11 says, and yes, I do. I've done some furniture restorations. I actually have turned a stool for myself, but I've done some. I want to get into more furniture making. Actually, I kind of want to get into everything about turning that interests me, and there's quite a bit. We'll see how much time I have that I can fill. I'm also a beekeeper, so I am going to school to become a master beekeeper. I'm part of the Heroes to Hives project, which teaches veterans and their dependents. It's a free course to veterans and their dependents on how to become successful beginning beekeepers, and I've been involved in that with 6 years. And hopefully next year, at least this is my goal anyway, I will be an instructor in the course as well. I need to get past the journeyman portion of the beekeeping program that I'm in. So yeah. But yes, to answer your question in a shorter version, I suppose, yes, I've made some furniture parts and restorations. I've made myself a stool or two, some small tables, but I really want to do more. It might get really tricky on that side. Let's see. How else can I address this guy? It would be a lot easier if it was facing this way. Am I marked there? I'm not marked there, so let's do that. Just in case I get the wild hair to pull this thing out of the chuck, which might happen. What would really be helpful would be some kind of a right angle tool. But let's see what I can do with what I got. Oh, and I should double check the height of my tool rest. I am a little high there. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, man, I've done sculptural pieces on the lathe. I still do, actually. Yeah, a lathe is pretty versatile, I guess, now that I think about it. And it doesn't hurt that, if I need a handle for a tool, that I can just whip it out on the lathe. That doesn't hurt. Okay, yeah, I think I'm actually going to have to take this down a little bit, which is a bummer, but there's a possibility that I might have to use a scraper most of the way. Let's see. Give that, well, let's see, I think I can take this down even further anyway, so let's do that. I don't want to take it down too much. There's going to be a sphere right about here. At least that's how it looked in my head last night as I was going to sleep. So, Viking, I have not seen you on the channel before. Thanks for stopping by. Are you a wood turner? And where are you located? Let's see. How far could I get that up there? So it doesn't have to be super thin. I just want to get some material out of there. Let's see how far I can get with this. Let's see, how else do I want to do this here? Let's think about this. Yeah, let's thin this out, this wall thickness out a little bit. And then I can move on to shaping this in front of the ball or sphere that's going to be somewhere in there. So if it seems like I'm spending a lot of time making sure my tool rest is stable, it's because with this lathe I've got two pieces of metal on the screw that pinch together to hold it. So if I don't get it in just the right position to where it locks in, it'll want to skate on me sometimes. It's not like just a regular, like your model before this, they just had a bolt going through with a handle like this that went right up against the post, the tool post, and held it in place that way, which I actually kind of like that better, but alas, that is not what I had to work with. I need some light down here. Okay, let's see, how close can I really get? About that. Man, how can I get this guy turned around? Let's see. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the center of this. I think I've got... Ooh, thinkity think. That might not work either. Alright, well, if I gotta trim this down a little bit more, I'll trim it down a little bit more. Let's raise this up a bit. Since I'm working with a scraper, I want to make sure that where the burr contacts the material, that angle is less than 90 degrees. See there how it shifted on me there? There we go. Let's see, I may have to take my burr a little bit further around on this side, but hey, it's a tool that can be modified. It used to be just a regular scraper, old Craftsman. Boy, I've had this tool for a while, but it is a really good small half-round scraper, or whatever I turn it into. At this point, the steel is good. At this point, it's a negative rake round nose scraper, but it has been other things. There he is, of course. We can't forget the tailstock. We need that support. What's stopping me really of getting closer is the tool handle up against the chuck there, so that doesn't get me too awful deep. Let's see, but it will if I carry this burr around a little bit further. So I'm going to go to the grinder real quick. I'll be right back. Since I'm there, I might as well freshen up the burr on the other side too. Okay, it's a nice piece of cherry. I like the coloring of this thing. I think it was 80 or 100-year-old, at least, piece of lumber that came out of a four-corner, four-post bed, actually, from an old farmhouse. That's like, is it really, I really do, I would really hope that I could get up further up in there than what there is right now. I mean, visually it won't affect the piece, but because there's a lidded box, be looking down on it. But I really like to keep all of my wall thicknesses the same and even. So I'm trying to think how I'm going to get this done. I think the only way is, at least with the tools that I have, thinkity think. Hold on a sec. Let's see. I do believe I have. If I can figure out where the heck it's at. This hollowing tool from Lyle Jamieson's system, this might work really well. You know what? Let's give it a shot, man. Why not? I think I've used, this is the mini boring bar for Lyle Jamieson's hollowing system, and I think I've used it twice. Let's see, hopefully this will fit. Oh, do I really need to take? Yeah, I do need to take that. Ah, beauty. It works. Well, what is this guy? This is a point for a center. Why is it in here? I do not remember. Let's put it in the magnet bucket. I need to take this guy out because I see that I have forgotten to replace this missing Allen screw. So I've got to transfer this one over. Alright, let's grab a 1/4" scraper. I think that's got, let's see, checking the burrs on these. I may have to sharpen one real quick. Nope, that one's alright. That one's okay. Alright, so I got two to experiment with. So that'll get me right up in there. Yeah, that might be the ticket, man. Don't have to attach it to a handle if I don't want to, but I think it'll fit. No, it won't fit in that handle. Okay, so I'm going unhandled for this. Not too big a deal. Not a huge, well, there is going to be some torque. I shouldn't say there's not going to be a huge amount. I've got the tool rest really, really close. And I'm just going to take light cuts. So let's see how far I can get up in there. Well, seems that's a little tough to hold, so I'm going to figure out how I'm going to mitigate that. Oh, wait, I think I have a solution right in here, perhaps. Maybe, here's the hoping. No, I guess that wouldn't work. Well, we'll go with this then. Check that wall thickness. So I've had lots and lots of hours behind the lathe. If you're not comfortable with doing something, don't do it. I show the ways that I work around issues that I have with tools that either don't exist or I don't have, don't currently own. But I think, personally, I think the wood turner I want to learn from is the one that's made mistakes and has learned how to correct them. Because those are valuable, that's valuable information. So that wall thickness is really nice. I'm liking this. So let's see if I can continue to use this guy. If I point it that way, yeah, I can. Okay. Rotate the tool just a bit. Again, I'm taking light cuts. but it's important that I take light cuts. Anyway, oh yeah, that's really, really nice. Okay, let's clean up some more with this feller. Point that light in there a little bit better. Sorry if it washes out. Oh, it doesn't look like it does. Alright. The question is, can I clean that out? I think I can. I think I can clean that out. Let's see. I need to angle this just a bit. That dude is going to go in there. Nope. Another direction, Dave. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll work fine. So if I had the right collet, I could fit this into my tool handle that I have, but I don't have, or do I? No, I don't have a, yeah, I might. You know, let's try that. I may have correct collet for that. Now that I think about it a little bit more, so let me, I think it's right over here. Or was once. Is that it? No. I bet that is also falling into, wouldn't that be awesome, right into the shavings. Double check my other lathe over here because usually I have it in my spare cutting tool steel pouch, and it looks like it's not there, so it's possible that it has dropped into the shavings and I need to dig it out. Alright, so we're back to not having a handle. That's a bummer. I need to locate that. Because that would certainly be safer. Let's see, is it over here? Nope, that's a toothpick. Nope. Alright. So I will need to locate it. And also take what feels like a splinter out of my finger. Oh, it's a metal shaving. There we go. From a burr, probably. Alright, yeah, let's get back to this guy. I can reach where I need to safely, so that's a bonus. Let me get the right angle for this guy. There we go. Oh man, boy, it's getting there. Let's see, let's take this down a little bit more, which means I need to move this guy this way. Oh, I can definitely get further in there with the gouge now. That's nice. Okay, I don't have very much left to go to get all of that wall thickness. So I'm gonna quit spitting on the wood, I guess. I'm gonna keep trucking and see how far I can actually get. This is interesting. So I've been turning for about 8 years now, but not the, gosh, I think the first 5 years I packed 2 years worth of turning. I mean, I started turning as therapy for PTSD. So I was out here a lot when I had, and I still do when I have bad nights. But earlier in my turning career, when I started turning as therapy, there was a lot more of them. So I spent thousands of hours in the shop. So there's a lot of things that I'm willing to try, and a lot of things that I'm not, based on what I've learned over the years and the things that I've explored and classes I've taken and all that. I also learned that wood turning is mostly finesse. So close, man. I don't know if I can get all the way, but I'm really close. I don't know that that would matter much, though, if I can't get all the way in there. How's my burr here? I think I'm going to touch this up really quick on the grinder. I'll be right back. Get down to the rest of that and hopefully clean up that bottom really nicely so I don't have very much sanding to do right now. I don't want to increase that possibility. That doesn't mean I'm afraid to jump through the, 60, 80 grit, whatever. But I want to start at a much higher grit. So I've really worked on my tool control skills, sharpening skills, all that over the years, so that I can achieve that. I'm not against sanding necessarily, but if I'm sanding, I'm not turning. So that's my philosophy on it anyway. This is interesting. My left hand is doing most of the movement with that, but I'm having to shift in interesting positions to keep the tool steel pointed in the right direction. I think that's as close as I'm going to get, but it's really close. Now that's thin enough that if I want to, I can carve it. I think I'm gonna, nah, no, I'm not gonna carve. I think I'm gonna, I got a little tool mark in there I need to clean up, but after that, I'm gonna leave it alone. And I might carve this later. Just checking my travel that I can actually make the curve. Whoops, well, there goes that. Time to start with a different piece. That's a bummer. So I'll grab another piece of cherry. I've gone through there. But I got really close to getting all of it, so I guess I start again. It happens. It is a bummer. Hey, but while I'm here, because I can use this for something else probably. Now I absolutely can get that. A little bit more. Forgot about that guy. That's funny, that wouldn't have worked out either. Okay, so time to replan. I have another piece of this cherry, fortunately. But this guy I will hang on to because it's still good timber, and who knows what I can make out of it. We'll find out. Set that aside. Okay, let's see. Do I want to go with another cherry, or do I want to go with maple? So here's the cherry. Some of the maple. Where is other maple? Other maple. Oh, that might be interesting. Or would it be too weird and busy? Nope, we're going with that guy. Or could I use this guy? I think I probably could. Let's see, that's bark inclusion, not a crack. This was on one of the four post corners, and this was the only usable piece of wood out of all of it, because that particular leg, actually a couple of these legs, were attacked by, or turned into food by termites. Which is something we did not know until we started taking the bed apart. But the termites had long since been gone or dead. and not all of the legs were affected. So this one was affected just a little bit. I had another leg that was not affected at all, and then the third leg, I didn't get the fourth leg, but the third leg was pretty much just totally eaten away, and this was all that was salvageable from that piece. But this I probably, except for those cracks, and I don't know how deep they go, and that is really close to not only the size but the curve that I want to match here on the bottom, so that's a no. Anyway, it's a 80, 100-year-old cherry, whatever. It's really, really dark cherry. It's gorgeous wood. So I was really, really lucky to get it in the right spot at the right time. So let's see. I got to double check because I know that there is a crack in it down here. Make sure there aren't any other serious doodads with this dude. This is a piece of spalted maple, and it is out of, oh man, this is going to look fantastic. This is spalted maple, but it's also crotchwood, so we've got some feathering going on there and some going on there. It's not super evident right now, but it will be. Yeah, we're definitely going with that piece. So I can probably safely get away with, because the crack goes that far. That is the end of it right there. So I probably can go, because that was about 3/8 of an inch, so I probably can go somewhere in there and be okay, not have to worry too much about that crack, especially since the foot of the base for this guy is not going to be that wide, maybe. Yeah, here we go. This will be cool. Been holding on to this piece, wondering if I was going to make a box out of it, or hell, I wasn't sure. But I think it will make a really nice addition to this box over here. See where we're at. Not quite running two, but we'll fix that. Let's get the tailstock set. You know what? I'm going to grab the skew because that will just make it, well, might make it easier. We'll see. This is a lot of feathering and harder wood up in here than, say, back right. Well, no, there's feathering there too. So the harder woods, especially where the tree knits itself together, which is where you get this feathering from the branches knitting together and then supporting each other. It's really compression wood is what it is. Except this particular compression, well, yeah, it does. When it's green, when you turn it green and you let it dry, you can see all the dimples and everything from all of this type of grain come out of it during the drying process. And I like that when I'm turning green pieces because I want that tactile texture on the outside. But it's something that you have to be Johnny on the spot with it and do as much finish sanding as you can before you set it out to dry. And the cool thing is you only need to let the surface dry enough to be able to sand the piece, because you're not sanding past the surface. So it doesn't, a couple hours depending on how green it is. And then you can sand the outside, or sand the outside surface that you're never going to go back to. and let it dry, and you'll see all those wrinkles and stuff come out of it. It's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm grabbing a skew. Well, doesn't want to go that way. Yeah, that wood is fighting me, so I'll do it this way. See what this does for me. Yeah. That's why I don't normally use a skew on that kind of wood. So we'll switch gears. I just thought it might be really handy. Skew is a much better on straight grained wood than highly figured wood. So instead, we'll go shear scraping with, or pull cut with the bow gouge. See the grain because it's feeling like the wood is preferentially wanting to be cut one direction over another. Okay, so that crack is disappearing, so I was right. I can get right about down in there, and I should not have an issue with that crack. So it seems like it wants me to cut that way. Check our diameter here. Cool, that'll work. And now we work on matching this curve. I really do like this. This is a 6-inch center tool rest. Steve Center makes them, sells them, and it's just a right angle tool rest for designed for spindle turnings. You can get right up, which I guess you could with the other one too. The a standard tool rest, but this really gets you like the center of the tool rest right in the area that you really need it. But I use this tool rest for so much more than that. It's a very nice tool rest. close there because this part of the curve is a little bit flatter than the other. Oh, it's right in front of me. Need to move this guy out of the way. And this guy out of the way. Okay, it needs to be just a touch flatter here, like a broader curve. So I can do that. Do I need the tool rest for that? No. Tool rest. Tailstock is what I meant. Yes, I need the tool rest for this. Okay, I think I overdid it just a bit, but maybe not. No. All right, cool. So we'll do a cleanup cut. Actually, it doesn't matter if I poke that in there. I'm going to drill that out anyway. And cuts. Endpoint set, I want it right there. That's my problem. Yeah. I forgot to bring the tool rest down after I used the scraper. There we go. So, comfortable position, uncomfortable position. This guy. This is some mighty hard wood, man. It's eating this abrasive for lunch. Okay, let's see. Let's grab a piece of 150. There we go. Oh man, that's funny. It's a lot harder than I expected. This wood is a lot harder. Okay. You can start to see the feathering come out now that the surface is smoother. Very cool. Alright, check again. And then I need to bore my hole. Let's see, I need to put this guy away too while I'm at it. Let's do that. Oh, no, I need this guy later. Don't put it away yet! I'm curious how that's going to turn that harder wood. I think I could get a well, I don't. Oh, I do have. Could probably use carbide. Maybe. Okay, double check this guy. Yes. And then I want to go to somewhere in there. That looks like a good spot. Okay, time for the Jacobs chuck. Excuse me. 5/8 Forstner bit. Set against the tenon. I'll go just a touch deeper. Trying to stay in the habit of putting away tools I don't need so I'm not tripping over everything. I do have limited space. Now I'm going to have to open the hole up a little bit more to get that tenon in there, but that's not going to take much. Bring out the old box scraper. Well, I call it a box scraper, I guess. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't call it a box scraper. It's more of a tenon scraper, but not for the tenon, for the female side of a tenon that fits in. Side scraper, I don't know. I just call it a box scraper because that's what I use it for. All my lidded boxes that have friction fit lids, little bit more. Did it again. Dang it. All right. Too loose. So, we will fix that. That's not going to work. What happened to the piece I had yesterday? I don't think that's it. Oh, yes it is. Alright, so I gotta fix that and re-drill. Cool thing is that nobody's gonna see this at all. Yeah, that'll be lovely. So let's grab some CA glue. I don't think I brought any out with me. I would use wood glue in this situation, but it will take too long to set. So we'll grab the thicker CA glue. Okay. Very much thicker CA glue. Now when I glue in tenons like this with, well, with any glue, but especially CA glue, I leave gaps in the line of in the glue line so that the air can escape when I push the tenon in. Whoa, man, I lost it a shaving. Be right back. Ugh. Okay. Almost back to trucking here. That guy away, get this guy out of the way. And grab the Jacob's chuck again. Since I'm right here, I believe I can grab this guy. There we go. Hello. Why'd you come loose? Alright, brush it off. That CA glue off there. Another bonus, man, when I put the tools back where I have a spot for them, if they go back to their home, it's easier to find later. Alright, so I got to open that up just a bit. Not as much as last time. And I think this time I'm going to go with the skew. There we go, dead on the money. Maybe a little tighter than I want. Just a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to take the side of this box scraper. This was a 3/8 inch spindle gouge. It went the way of the dodo, I guess. I used it up. And then I had this chunk of tool steel with a handle in it. And I thought, well, I could throw the whole thing away, but I could make a unique box scraper that lets me get my shells for my tenons, the lid, to sit on in a 90-degree angle, and I can scrape the side because that's a scraper. Go. I'll take it. Alright, so these two curves match, so I got to figure out, did I draw a line? I didn't. Yes, I did. Drew a line, so that's where I'm going to start working from. And we'll see how many times I got to sharpen tools when, oh yeah, I'm going to want the tail stock back. We'll see how many times I sharpen tools with this particular timber. There we go. my line. Get a scraper in here. Now let's see. Let's get my diameter I want in the center first, since I need to clean that up anyway. Okay, let's see. I think maybe I'll play around with having the ball maybe a little lower. I don't know. I have this piece here. So yeah, I really want to try to use as much of this as possible. So let's open this up some more. Yeah, I think that will be lovely. can I get this in any closer? Oh, we gotta move the tool rest to find out. Let's do that. Now for the scraper, well actually for both of these I need a little bit of an angle. But I can shift the whole tool, the whole banjo. A little bit. We'll clean up some of it with the spindle gouge. And tool rests need to be adjusted for that guy. I want to be able to get my handle up so that the cutting edge is down and making a less than 90-degree angle in relation to the material it's cutting. Alright, back to the miniature hollowing arm there. I want to make sure that I didn't start loosening this because that may have slipped my mind. And I need some new steel there too, so yeah, I guess I'm loosening that. So we'll use this guy. Set you aside to be sharpened later. Okay. Sorry, I haven't checked chat in a while. Anything new in chat? No. Last message was some biking Viking. They asked me if I had ever made furniture on my lathe. Maybe I can get a little bit deeper. I'm not going to get too crazy like I did last time. that right there is a nice even wall thickness up to this point. Right there. Let me see. I might be able to get just a little bit deeper, but I'm not going to go too much further. And I'm keeping in mind that hole I have there. Don't want to cut through that again. Okay, cool. That opened up a little bit. I can go just a little bit deeper with this guy. That's not the right angle. There we go. Cool, I got that curve just right. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop with this guy. So now I actually can put this away. Cool, I have to remember that, and I'll look for, set that guy aside to be sharpened. I'll look for that other collet, because this sure was a handy little thing to be able to do that with. Be yet another tool that I do not have to purchase. What a shame that would be. Oh, wait, there was something. Oh, yes. I wonder if I put that point in there. I bet you I did, to give a little tension against that Allen screw so that it doesn't back out and disappear like the last one did. Okay, so there. We're done with you for now, so we can set that magnet bowl to the side. And I think I get in there just enough to clean this up. Yes, I can. So I don't know if any of you out there in Twitch land are a member of a turning club. I am a member of the Northwest Michigan Woodturners, also known as TC Turners, here in Traverse City. Past president of the club. But the point I was getting at is that every single wood turner, and it's probably just going to be the wood turners most likely, is going to come in here and they're gonna where's the box? They'll go like this and go, oh yeah, yeah, and then they'll feel that, they go, oh yeah, you got it. Then they'll come over here and they'll feel this. I don't want to disappoint. Okay, let's see. I think that will need to be narrowed a little bit. Where am I going to put the sphere, he says. Should I put it right underneath or further down? This is a really good question. Let's see what it might look like. With my tool rest in the right height. Okay, let's see what it might look like. Oh, how about right there? with it just a hint so I can see. If I look at it this way, if I look at it that way, all of that needs to be smaller. How's my bird doing? All right. Bunch of smart alecky wood turners. Really nice bunch of guys, man. For the most part. I mean, every group has their I don't know, outlier, I guess. Okay, so is that thin enough? Well, let's do this and find out. Oops. Yes, you are not locked in. There we go. Let's see. Let's continue down this way. Yeah, I think that'll be a good diameter for the sphere. Okay, looking better. One would almost think it might be a mushroom, in fact. Oh, can I get in there with this guy? Nope, can't get in there. Okay, alright, let's see. Now, the rest of it. Yeah, I think it looks like a good spot, especially since it's there already. Oh, I didn't have to, yes, I did have to do that. Because I need to bring this column down to the sphere. get a little tricky with the spindle gouge. Hey, sit still. How are we doing on time here? Really? 9:40. All right. So I'm using really light pressure here. I just am contacting only the burr as much as I can, but really light pressure so that the burr isn't being mashed into the wood and can make a cleaner cut. That works for me. Yeah, I think that's going to look pretty nice. Okay, now we can continue working on the bottom, the base of it. I was complaining last night because some of my neighbors had set off a bunch of fireworks. I'm a disabled vet, and I'm not a fan of fireworks because they sound like they sound like weapons of war to me. But that's the whole idea. That's why they're supposed to. But it bugs me. But I finally realized what holiday it is that people are celebrating a little early. And that would be Memorial Day, yeah? Quite as pronounced as the other one, so let's fix that like that. Got time to figure out what the heck it is I want with the rest of it, so I'm going to run a little bit of abrasive on a couple of these parts that I can reach. go. Let's see, I think a little bit right in there. See how that looks. Not too shabby. Alright, I think, golly, what am I going to do with that? Where's my line? There's my line. So I've got quite a bit to play with. So that bit is pretty well done. So I don't think I need the tailstock any longer. So move that guy out of the way. Oh yeah, I can put the wrench away. Pliers. That goes away. Okay, with the box on it, let's take a gander. Alright, so I do think that I'm actually going to carve this probably in 3 leaves like these are. Okay. And I've got an even wall thickness all the way up to this point where my fingernail is touching the timber. And I don't need to go that high. I'm just going to make, I'll lay out my 3 corners and then I'll cut in a low arc from corner to corner to get that shape. Okay, what to do with this guy? I want to make sure too, I'm following this line all the way to this. I need to take that down just a little bit. I want my lines to follow through wherever they go. Here, this line needs to follow through the sphere and meet up on this side, but I've got just a bit of a hump right here, which I wanted, but it's just a little too tall. So I'm going to take this spot right here down just a little bit to match that. Unfortunately, that won't take much. Whoops. You know what, though? Let's do something about this dude. And it turns out I need the tailstock again. There we go. Wrong tool. That's the tool I want. So as I follow that line, I can do a similar thing here, and that should match up pretty nicely. I do need to get my spindle gouge back in there. I think I'll leave that. I like that little fillet there, so I'll adjust this fillet since I got to adjust this anyway to make sure my lines go through. I'll adjust this fillet. I like this one better. I think it outlines that curve of that sphere a lot nicer than this does. I'll put you away and you down there. So let's do that. Must be moving really slow, or it seems like it. Yep, 600. Really close. Touch that with abrasive again. As soon as I can find it. There it is. Suppose I could slow that down now a little bit. Well, it's not traveling that fast. The lowest speed I can achieve on this lathe without creating a gearbox is 400 RPM. That's not the fastest speed. The fastest speed I think is 3600. And I don't recall ever turning that fast. I just know the option is there, but I've never had to turn anything that fast. And there's no reason why you can't turn at 400 RPM. I've done it a lot, sometimes by accident. Forget that I have left my lathe speed down low, but all it means is that you slow yourself down. Tools, you should only be cutting or moving as fast as a tool can cut anyway. So it really doesn't matter what speed you're at. Whatever's comfortable to you at the time that you're turning, whatever it is you're doing, that's the speed you should turn at. I've had that question a lot. Like, what speed do you turn at? What speed are you turning that at now? How fast should I turn that? Whatever's comfortable for you. It doesn't matter. The biggest issue with lathe speed comes when you're cutting a lot of air, and you've got that vibration thing going. I'm always trying to mitigate vibration and the time between cuts of actual material. In other words, an air cut where we're not cutting any material. So if I had here we can do it here. If I was to make this guy round, I'd have to cut that corner, then I'm cutting air, then I cut that corner, cutting air, cut that corner, and keep going down, taking that diameter down until it's round again. Well, that's a lot of air to cut, and so you want your lathe speed up for that. It's a little bit less bumpy ride, and there's a lot less time in between the air gaps. And that's what I'm always shooting for. See, now this guy, is that where I marked? Oh, yes, it is where I marked it. Okay. That's probably the only time I'm really concerned about lathe speed is when I've got a piece that I need to. I always do my best to start off on the balance point with whatever piece, unless it's a piece of a spindle piece that I've already turned out or whatever. This is a twice turned spindle piece. I made the blank and then let it dry in the shop here. For golly, when did I get this piece? I got this piece in, I'm going to say 2017 or 2016 from here in Traverse City. So back then, and it was a piece of crotchwood, so back then I made that core, that spindle out of it, and then let it dry. So I'm going to lose part of it. Well, not a lot because that crack doesn't go very deep, but it's deep enough that it's not going to work for this piece. So when I get to the foot here, I'll cut off. I'll still have some of this cool looking wood to play around with on some other project, which is nice. But that's where this came from. It was a storm damaged tree, and then I made the billet myself, let it dry. Yeah, that looks nice. I like that. Let it dry, and now we're turning it today. And it's some tough wood, man. All this figure in here, plus all the spalting process has started. That's why we have all these. You got some dark lines beginning, but the spalting process doesn't just go immediately into black lines. First, there's a discoloration in the wood, and then you'll see splotches. Like there's a splotch there. And then, like, the tones of the wood will start to change as the fungus that's in the tree for its lifetime activates and starts to break it down after the tree has lived its life, or it's down, whatever, no longer taking nutrients and able to maintain those fungal colonies, because it is a symbiotic relationship. Not only underground with all the roots and the rhizomes and all that, but also within the tree itself. And as the fungus starts to break down the no longer quote-unquote living tree, a broken nail, how lovely. It starts making changes in the wood to make it easier to break down. Part of it is a bleaching process, so for some fungus, so that's where you see these kind of white splotchy places here, but all of this was the original, close to the original tone of the wood. You see all of the lighter spots of where the spalting process has started changing all that back in the day when I got this guy, and finally at the end, just before the log pretty much becomes unusable for any kind of turning anyway. I don't know what I would use it for anything else. Certainly not building. Maybe decoration, just because the spalting lines are cool. But shortly after, not very long after, the lines start appearing, and those lines are the demarcation area between one fungus and another type of fungus trying to get territory, and they've killed each other off on that line. So that's where those dark lines come from, is the dead fungus leaving its mark indelibly in the wood forever until the wood is completely broken down. And again, it's not very long after those lines start showing up in great abundance, well, depending on the wood too, but with maple anyway, you get a bunch of those lines and the wood just starts getting punky and breaking down. So it's not much time after you find a log like that that it needs to be addressed, so that the wood is dried, so the fungus loses its moisture and its food. There's no water, and it's a dry surface. The fungus is going to die off, and then with the sanding and the finishing and all that, the fungus will never come back to life. Then a different fungus would attack this piece if it was left out in the forest. Not this. This is dead now. Okay, I think, man, that's really close to a good height for this guy. I think if I take it, where's the lid? There's the lid. Well, that would mean I'd have to take it all the way down to here if I did it that way. If I follow the 3/5 rule, right in here. We'll check that again. We're not counting the lid on this. So that would be thirds, actually. So that works for me. So that's the real estate we're shooting for. Let's get this guy out of here. Come on, darling, get out of there. Okay, what to do with the base? Let's see. It's a lidded box. So do we leave the base kind of thick just for weight on the box? I say yes we do. How thick? First of all, let's, I need that skew, which is up here already. So I'm going to score this line, break through the fibers so that when I use my parting tool, this stuff doesn't get all fuzzed up. This might on this side, but this side will not. Man, this wood, well, it doesn't smell like maple, that's for one thing. But man, it smells really, I don't know, it's almost like a spiciness. It's very nice. I'm enjoying turning this piece of maple. It's got an interesting and not unpleasant odor. Okay, so that will be the very bottom. That is going to sit on whatever surface. How do I want to deal with this? Okay, so we got a curve there. How about if let's see, do I like how that curve is going? I don't. And you know what? Just for giggles, I am going to leave the tailstock up there just to get a little bit extra support and get rid of this vibration that's happening. Just to get a smoother cut. Little pull cut action there. That's a very nice surface. You can see in the very, very tiniest cells, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't see this on camera, but where the figure is running through, that figure is starting to turn a little bit punky. It's really, really, really fine grained. It's not like I'm poking it with a fingernail. It's not really even an indentation, so it's still pretty solid wood, but it's starting to go. Or it was anyway when I harvested the downed tree and turned this billet. So that's really, really fine grained punkiness in there. So I caught this liller at the best time, I think. Okay, do I want to leave that alone? Do I want it round, like rounded edges? Okay, this curve I like better. Working to blend the surfaces. Let's take this guy across right there. Man, I guess I'm still turning it. No, that's 600. Like I said, I don't always check my lathe speed. I just adjust myself, my speed to match that of the lathe and the tool's cutting action. Although, like everybody else, I really don't want to. Well, I don't know if that's true if it's everybody else, but I really don't want to turn at 50 RPM all the time. I would if I had to. Find some way to gear that up. Should be nice and smooth. All the tool marks are gone. Now let's put a little bit of, I don't know, design magic in here. Let's see. I first want to soften this edge. That will give it the illusion of a little bit of lift. Let's bring this guy back. And then let's see, how about, hello, we have a moth. This is the first moth I've seen all year. All the bugs seem to be missing too, except for the flies. The flies are still here. But no mosquitoes. I've seen a couple of ticks, which is unusual for Traverse City to see this many ticks, but no mosquitoes, hardly any beetles. I don't know where all the insects are going. I don't know if that's has anything to do with the atmosphere, what they're spraying into the atmosphere or what. Okay, so I'm going to give this guy bit of a bead. Which means I'm going to give this guy a bit of a bead. Oh, wait. Yep. little bit of a larger central bead. Like that. Maybe I need to say that stuff out loud more often. I got a June bug in here now, and I haven't seen any of those this year yet either. Seen my first June bug. Haven't seen any lightning bugs either, man. Although this should show up a little bit more. The actual fall, I think. There'd be some. I haven't seen any lightning bugs this year. None. Not a single one. And there's a bunch of them up here usually. Okay, now that that's done, I want to make some lines here. So I'm going to burn some lines in there. And that will match the lines here. Speed the lid up a little bit. Wood smoke. Okay, I'm ready to part this dude off. This bit is done. Waiting for my wire to cool down. I usually wrap it around a tool rest or the handle of either the tailstock or the banjo. Get that conduction to pull that heat out before I put it back in its plastic container and before I try to touch it. Come here, dude. There's a very small June bug, in fact. Smaller than usual. Strange things are afoot. Okay, we'll finish parting this dude off. Now, I personally prefer not to cut all the way through with a parting tool. I've got to do a little Dremel work on the bottom to get rid of this tenon that's on the bottom, but it's very, very small. A very, very small area that I'll have to actually sand. But I won't have any torn end grain, so I just need to grind this away, and that'll be done. other than potentially carving it. Which I think, the more I think about it, the more I think I'm going to do. Alright, so let's take care of that guy really quick. Actually, I don't need to do it that way. I'll do it this way. We will sand it off with my auto body sander that is converted to woodworking use. And by converted, I mean I've only used it for woodworking and not for any auto body work. So the compressor is going to kick off at some point. It hopefully won't run long. No, it won't. I turned it off. Well, I'm just going to have to turn it on. Running out too much air. Bear with me. And that's just a 220 disc on the auto body sander. I can take this now. Oh, let's leave it just in case I need it as a jam chuck. Looks very nice. Signature on it. Look at all that figure running through there. And a little 220 to spruce that up. Groovy. Alright, so this is what it looks like before any carving is done. Let's see where the grain of the branches goes. It looks like they're both closer to this side, so excuse me. And the grain for this crotchwood is closer to that side, so let's see about lining those two up and see how that works. Whoa, that works really nice. Wow, how about lucky there, huh? So that grain lines up there, and that grain lines up really close to there. And this is, does that show up on camera? Yeah, let's move that out of the way. There we go, that shows up better. Turn it sideways perhaps. So that's yeah, I think that's a cool little stand. I will actually carve those just to carry that triskelion, that three lobe leaf all the way through. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's cool. That's cool. All right, let's move that aside. What are we looking at? 20 after 10. So I have this dude I can play with. What did I do with the piece that I was going to use for the onion ring for that guy? What did I do with that? Oh, I know what I did with it. It's right there. Okay, that is set for this chuck. So put that back in. Take this guy out. Yeah, that's still really a good solid piece of wood. The crack only goes, what, 5/8 of an inch here and is gone there. So I could make another little box or something out of that. That'd be cool. Okay, so you are there. So we got this walnut. I had turned this green and then into the shape of a box to see if it would survive the drying process. This one actually survived the drying process, so we'll turn it into a box. See if it's running true. Close. You know, I might be able to get better with that. Let's see. Let's rotate it in the chuck and see if the vibration gets better. A little bit. Let's rotate it again. It could be that I didn't get the right jaw set up there. That's about the same. Let's turn it one more time just to see what we get. Well, actually, that one's about the same, so I'll take it back one turn to there. All right, so I think, let's see, how do I want to do this box? I think, what's my depth here? I lost a pencil already to the shavings monster. That's my center, so my depth should be, yep, that's about right. That's my wall thickness, so that should be my depth. So I can actually take that down in a little bit, which is good. What shape do I want? I've got some figure happening there. Is it on this guy? Let's get the right stuff lined up. So I got a little bit of figure happening there. Kind of the hint of something happening there. And that's it. Alright. Well, hopefully that sticks around. We'll see. Couple of really light pull cuts. It is going to stick around. Nice. Alright, so that is going to be the diameter of my box. What shape do I want? Do I want a round one or a pillar? How do I want to do that? Let's see. How about we give it... Oh, I know. Right after I blow my nose here, I'm going to give it a little bit of a round shape and then kind of like an oriental style lid. So we're going to go for that. Let's see here. If we take that, okay, a little bit more. Little bit more. That's about right. Let's see now, how do I want to do this? But you know what, we'll figure that out in a minute. Let's work on the inside of this box. Quite a clip. I don't need to go that fast. That'll work. Gotta bring up the backup light here. Oh, let's see. Capt OB1. Hey, Dave. Hey, man. How's it going? How you doing, man? Yeah, that's better. And this way you don't have the top of the head cam or the over the shoulder cam. dude, there's not gonna see it. Probably see it on the outside. You can see a figure right on the inside of this thing. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna want. Oh, I got this guy right here. We'll take him. Okay, I'm liking that so far. Let's check our depth again. Oh, I could actually go deeper. So I will. That's a nice shape. Now let's get set for the onion ring. Move the top over there. So I'm going to want to set that dude. There. Still gives me plenty of thickness to play with. One last thing, let's sand this part because I'm going to flip it around and do the bottom. Grab a little bit of 220 here. There it is. Now I want this surface right here where the lid's going to sit to be slightly beveled inward. And I'll do the same on the outside part of this guy. It'll be slightly beveled inward so that when the cap sits, it sits right on this outside edge. I'm liking this. This is cool. Alright, so the inside's finished. That part right there is sanded. Let's sand with the grain, shall we? Oh, forgot I had this guy. I don't need air for this. There we go, much better. Alright, so my walth, or my depth, is that right there. I actually could go deeper than that, but that's a good sized box. I think we'll leave it the way it is. It just means I have more material to play with when I'm forming the base of it. Let's see, do I want to? Nope, I gotta do these things in order. So let's take care of the onion ring. So this is a technique I use when I don't have a lot of a particular kind of material. What I'll do is I'll make an insert tenon that I've heard some people call it an onion ring, which makes sense. Excuse me. I thought I had discovered this on my own, but apparently there have been multiple concurrent discoveries. But when I don't have a lot of material to waste away and parting off and all that stuff, I will, like in this case, part the lid and the body of the box separately, and then I'll make what's called an onion ring. It's a tenon that slips in that I'll glue into place on this. It'll sit on this lip, and then the box will slide down onto that ring, and you won't see that ring as long as the box is closed. But it does have a contrasting color, so when it comes out, when you open it up, you'll see it there. I think I need this guy. Let's go with this guy first. Maple is just really nice to cut, I have to say. Really nice. Or at least this piece of maple. Okay, so it sits right on there. Let me try the other side. Whoop, that's the wrong key. That key won't work. So I had a chunk of maple that I had bored a hole through for some reason, but I save all my little chunks as I never know what I'm going to use them for. All I did was just widen this hole so I could get this onto my pin jaws in expansion mode, so I could work on the diameter of this dude without worrying about messing up the chuck, or running into the chuck rather. Okay, I need to take just a skosh off there, so we'll do that with this guy. Well, I don't like that. What the heck? So Mike, I understand if you're still here, you're going to go do a demo for the Hiawatha Turning Club for the Lyle's hollowing system, yeah? That's cool, man. There's some really nice people. Oh, man, that, you know what? I'll take just a skosh off that, but not much. If it's running true, it is not. Let's see about changing that. let's do it this way. Let's see. Do I have one with me? I do not. Don't have one there. Oh, but I have this. This will work. This will work just fine. Loosen up the chuck a little bit. Just a little bit. It does not seem to be working for me at this time. How about now? There we go. It's as good as it's going to get, I think. Whoops, I loosened it. Uh-oh. Yep. Closer. Closer. I will get there, by golly. Oop, wrong direction. This guy again. You know what? I'm just going to quit monkeying with it. I don't know that I'm going to get. It's probably as close as I'll get. So instead of using the tool, I'll just use a little abrasive. Perfect. Sits right on that shelf. It's very good. No, Dave. This way. Okay. No, that's close enough. That'll work. And I think I want my skew again. I'll grab this guy. Now that will actually sit flat on the shelf. Very good. And let's put this together. Where did I put the key? Here it is. So it'll sit there like that once it's glued in, and then the lid will just fit right over the top of it. I don't know that I'm going to have that much of a tenon, but it'll be easier to haul this out too and get it opened up for the box. I am looking at what am I going to do with the bottom of the box here? And should I wait? No, I think what I will do is I will, let's line this up. So the grain lines up there. Almost. Missed it by a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'll assemble this, and then when the glue is dry, I'll use wood glue. When the glue is dry, I'll chuck this part up. I'll hollow out this tenon bit, and then I will finish off the bottom by reversing this probably onto a jam chuck. So how about this fella? I think I need to wait for my onion ring. That'd be pretty deep. That's okay though. I think I'm going to wait for my onion ring to the glue to dry this into place before I turn the lid and try to get things fit together, because I'm going to make this lid a little bit of a winged dome, Oriental style, and I don't want to fight the friction and all that of this piece coming apart and all that stuff. I want to fit everything together properly. So I'm going to stop here for now on this project. I'll glue this together tonight, and then once the glue has hardened, and I'll use Titebond for this, as I said, then I'll turn this again. So I'm going to wrap up tonight's broadcast at this point. If there are any questions, comments, anything that you did not get to type into chat, I'll open up the floor for that. Happy to answer any questions. Let me go shut that off. And turn that down. And we will rotate our camera. You see the music has stopped playing, as usual. All right. Oh, let's switch cameras too. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Safety glasses there, tools there, we're all set. All right, cool. So that'll wrap it up for tonight. Still plenty of time to throw in chats, even just drop a hi to let me know that you're here watching. I appreciate the company. My name is Dave, and I started this channel to become a better demonstrator and a better teacher, and to help turners like yourselves, become better turners. At the same time, working on becoming a better turner myself. I want to be the best turner I can be, and I touch on a lot of subjects, and I explore a lot of things in wood turning, because wood turning fascinates me. I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Found out I had a knack for it. It's one of my favorite places to be is behind the lathe. One of the other ones is in the bee yard, which I'll be doing in the next day or two. I started keeping bees once I got through the first season of Heroes to Hives. It's a program for veterans and their dependents. It's free. That teaches them to be successful beginning beekeepers. I started keeping bees as therapy for PTSD. It's amazing. They're fascinating. I find it most of the time, 99% of the time, maybe 98% of the time, to be very relaxing in the bee yard. And I feel the same way when I'm working on the lathe, because it started off as therapy, and it still is therapy. But I'm following through with it a lot, because it is a wonderful place to keep a unique focus that doesn't allow the mind chatter to overtake the thought process or to overtake the emotional process. So it's really great to have a unique focus that doesn't drown that out, but it allows it to work in the background while you are here focused on whatever it is you're turning. I think I'm partially Italian because I'm using my hands a lot. So we'll turn on that camera so you can see the hand signal, all the hands move and all that stuff. Anyway, turning, there's a lot to it. There's a lot, and I'm discovering more and more the further I get into it, which I think is fabulous because I never want it to be boring. I think, though, that probably the only way it would be boring is if I was boring and if I made it that way. I try many different things. I want to have the best tool control that I can possibly have. I am, I've got some physical issues from the military, but I'm also getting on in age. So as we age, there's a possibility that some of the fine motor skills might degrade a little bit. I hope it's not the case because I'm working with them all the time. So I hope that that means that much later in life is where I might lose any fine motor skills. But it's this constant practice and the constant coming to the lathe and constant working with the tools that has got me to where I'm at. It's not something that happens overnight, and I do tell people that, even though expectations still, and I get it, I had expectations too. I was told several times it's not going to happen overnight, and it didn't. But it did happen at night on all the nights that I couldn't sleep. Or the nights that I was woken, Anyway, again, art and turning, and specifically in regards to myself anyway, although I've had many people tell me this, is an amazing, relaxing, meditative experience. Once you get the body mechanics down, the tool handling skills down, and understand some mostly basic, but you'll pick up more as you go, but mostly basic ways to read the wood. I continually stop my lathe when I'm turning just to check out to see what's happening with the wood because each piece is unique. Each piece is different from the next, even though they may be joined on the same side of the log. The stresses in that wood, the figure in that whatever, it's all different. Maybe the same tree, but it's going to be different. And so that place where I don't know. I don't want to call it inspiration. I don't want to call it. There's so many names for it. There's just so many. It's like a spiritual experience, for me anyway. I really this I could definitely call this church without a doubt. Same with keeping bees. I could call that church too. But I guess it depends on where your mindset is at, what your interests are. It could be car building or anything. It could be anything. For me, as a veteran, finding a therapy that works really well for me is fantastic and phenomenal. I myself I'm a physical person. So my meditation is in movement, in work, in doing things like that. So the lathe fits me really, really well. I also know that with, what are we, over 8 billion people now? 8 billion people on the planet, I cannot be the only one. And I know I'm not because there is a type of yoga in India that is, and I can't remember, it might be chakram yoga. I can't remember the names, so don't quote me. But it is it's a yoga based on movement and physicality. And one of these days I think I'm going to explore that because that really works for me. So, having said that, I love to teach. I love to be able to pass on little tips and tricks. I got some of that from some of the teachers that I got, and shortened, or rather smoothed out some of the bumps in my journey I might have had. My first mentor smoothed out a lot of the bumps in the journey that I was having in the very beginning, and I highly recommend that you find, if you're new to turning, or you've been turning for a while and you never had a class with a teacher or whatever, and it's all YouTube and all that stuff, find a turner who knows what they're doing, to teach you the proper ways to do this stuff. Number one, you're going to be able to do it a lot longer because it'll be done much more in a much more safe manner. Learning those techniques and stuff from a good teacher. The ABCs of turning, body language, body mechanics, sharpening, wood selection, wood reading. I mean, there is a lot. There is a lot. But there's plenty of room for everybody in the wood tuning world because there are so many facets of it and so many little things that little divergent paths that people can take that nobody on the planet, I would think anyway, would create the same thing accidentally or on their own as somebody else on the planet. So everything's going to be different unless you're intentionally trying to copy. Which, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you're doing it for profit to copy somebody else's work, then, I'm going to call that a bad thing. But if you are emulating someone or you're copying somebody's work in a class, you're doing exactly what they say, that is a good thing because that is teaching you the techniques that you went to the class to learn in the first place. And then you can take those and integrate them into your own toolkit, so to speak, your own body mechanics, the way you turn, the tools you use, all that. But you have to have that foundation to be successful, and it's the same anywhere else. I don't believe that I have ever heard a story of anyone that was able to walk up to a lathe or a canvas or whatever and just pop out a masterpiece. It takes time. So give yourself the permission to take that time. Allow yourself to make the mistakes that you are inevitably going to make. Take steps to resolve those. Learn from those mistakes because that's where the skill comes in. That's where the skill starts to build, is learning and from those mistakes and mitigating them. At least in my opinion. I think that those are the biggest teachers, and those mistakes that I have had, I share what I learned from those with everybody that I can when I'm teaching wood turning because I want to smooth out that journey for other people too. It's an enjoyable thing to do. So it's not necessary to beat yourself up at the lathe. The turning is mostly finesse. We couldn't find anyone named Ford. For some reason, it looks like I'm the only guy here. Well, that's all right, man. I'm the only guy here, and that's groovy. People just stopped in to say hey or whatever, and that's okay. The point of the matter is that get some instruction, get some quality instruction. Don't try to wing it because this is an inherently dangerous endeavor. You got a chunk of whatever the hell it is spinning around on a lathe, 60, 70, whatever speed you're turning at, miles an hour, that has a possibility of flying off the lathe or coming apart, and so it's dangerous. But the things that I teach and the things that a lot of the other instructors that I have myself taken instruction from, you learn all the ways to mitigate that. One of the biggest I learned from Lyle Jameson was starting off on your balance points when you're working with green wood. You start off with minimal to no vibration right at the get-go if you start on the balance point, and it makes it so much easier to deal with what's happening with the wood and seeing your vision come out in front of it instead of you doing this and bumping around on the lathe. It's all smooth, controlled, and I'm not going to say effortless, but yeah, almost effortless. The tools, when you have them in the right configuration and you have the practice, they almost want to just cut on their own. And with the way I'm experiencing this, I think it's fascinating that the longer that I'm turning with tools, the more my body mechanics adjusts, and as I age, and as things come along, things change, whatever, my body changes with that too, and so it becomes more and more ingrained. It becomes muscle memory, and that muscle memory is what helps me, allows me to shut off the mind chatter, because the muscle memory can take over, and then I can just let my mind float. And in a matter of speaking, I myself think I really believe I'm talking to the wood as I'm going, because the wood most of the time, and that's my favorite way to turn, is just throw a lump up there and see what comes out, see what the wood tells me, and have that come out. I might see a little spots and visions and stuff like that, but when I'm in the zone, I know I'm in the zone, because I've used this, and I still use it for therapy. I've used it for therapy, and I've worked at it. But again, it's this thing. It's practice, practice, practice. I had a young man at an art show a couple weeks back ask me, because I had a really thin bowl. It was like an eighth of an inch thickness on a 10, 11-inch bowl. A piece of ash, actually. And he asked me what my secret was to get the bowl so thin. And I said, practice. And he looked at me and he said, okay, I get it. You don't want to tell me your secrets. I said, no, dude, that is the secret. It's practice. It's not something that you get to do immediately. You have to learn all the other things before that to get to that point that you can create something like that. It's just practice. So I admonish you to practice, practice, practice. And find some competent instruction. If you're in the Traverse City area and you'd like to work with me, I'm all about it. Contact me. My contact information is on the Twitch channel, as well as in my Instagram, when that link is in the Twitch channel. And my YouTube information is in my Instagram, but that is not, don't have contact information there. So you can get to it pretty easy. Give me a shout. Let's work it out, man. I'm happy to. I love turning. I love talking about it. Clearly. Same thing with bees. I like working with them, and I love talking about them. I'll talk your ear off, especially if you're a veteran, because I want to open the doors that might be shut to exploring quote-unquote alternative therapies, right? Instead of going to a shrink or taking drugs or whatever. I want to be as au naturel as possible, because that's how I was brought to this earth. I don't want to be a drug-addled, ill individual. And I say ill because I'm also the unfortunate 1% that get most of the side effects from pharmaceuticals that are made these days. So I do my best not to take any. But this is a way that helps me do that. In fact, once I get into the zone, I can shut off any pain, any discomfort, whatever that I'm feeling. It goes away. It goes away until I'm out of the zone. And I dig that. And I know it can work for you too. So I'm going to wrap up. It looks like nothing else is in the chat. No questions, comments, what have you. So I want to say, hope you stay friendly. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'll be back again next Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 11. If you follow this channel, you'll get the notifications when the live streams are going on. I have them scheduled, so you'll get those emails and notifications coming to you, and then any updates. Like last week, I had to cancel Wednesday because I had a 2-day show this weekend in Suttons Bay, art show. That the time bandits were eating my lunch, so I had to take that extra day to get ready for that show. But you'll get those notifications. And I appreciate you joining our community. So thanks again, folks. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast this evening, and I hope you have a lovely night. I will see you next Tuesday at 8 o'clock right here. Twitch Tuesday. That's right. Woodturning with Dave Reif. I'll talk to you later. Bye.